Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rachel Kirkland, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for being here with me for this rendition of the Modern Shaman question and answer time. Before I jump into the question for today, I will just say if you're new, thank you for watching this, for joining us. Feel free to subscribe and, of course, send these videos. I said, of course. Of course. Feel free to send these videos around to anyone that you feel like would resonate or learn or be blessed by them. And also feel free to poke on my website to kind of check it out. And it is themodernshaman.net. I have a lot of things going on there. There's a way to schedule sessions. There's a way to see my touring schedule if I might be in your area, or to check out the academy and find out about learning more about these topics and kind of studying under me and through the Ascension Academy that I teach. So lots of options on there. And thank you again for joining us. Okay, spiel is done. If you notice, I am like really trying to focus on looking at the camera. Okay, because I kept getting these messages from people saying, you never look at the camera, you look like, and the weird thing is when you're filming with your phone, which I'm filming with my phone, you have a tendency to look straight at the phone, but the camera is actually like all on this. So enough about that. I'm making an effort to focus just on that little dot right there. Let's see if I'll be good this time. So here's the question for today. I printed it out because I didn't want to have to read it from the computer, but, and I won't tell you who sent it. Although I'm sure she'll recognize her little icon on there. Okay, it says, "Hi Rachel, I have a question for you. On my way to the movies today, I felt my body changing and preparing to transmute energies. Like with no conscious choice on my part, it just starts. And then the whole movie in the theater, this is what I'm doing, transmuting energies. Again, it feels like I'm not choosing it, but I know at a higher level I am, and I'm happy for it now. After our session the other day, I'm able to allow it and work on it with almost no fear. Now that I know that it's not a panic attack, I swear our session changed my entire life." Love you. My question is, so it really ramped up once the family next to me sat down. I know it affects me in a positive way, but number one, am I doing it for the others next to me, like the family? And two, even if I am doing it for others, does it actually make a positive effect on them or make a difference? I'm so grateful for you through this process, and so on. Okay, so the main questions are about transmuting energy, okay? And number one, am I doing it? Am I transmuting these energies for other people? Is it happening kind of via me for others? And then number two, is it actually having an effect on others as I'm sitting there in the movies feeling this transmutation of energy from dark to light or healing energy? Good, awesome question. Okay, let me just get comfy in my chair. And I'm going to center into that energy and just answer your question to the best of my ability. I love this question. And I love you, questioner. I feel like this is very relevant. I'm looking over here. I feel like this is very relevant for so many people that are kind of hitting this point of awareness where they're integrating their multidimensional self so much so that the healing they are doing, they are aware that they're doing it on various multidimensional levels simultaneously. Okay? So what I mean by that is there's an awareness that she has of her as an individuated expression of Source, right? I am Rachel as an individuated expression of Source. And yet, I'm also aware, very much so like the Russian doll analogy, that I am a multidimensional self. I am infinite. I am ever expanding. I am all things. I am, right? And from that perspective, there is no other. So the healing that's happening, the transmutation that's happening, is happening to your expanded body, your higher self, your larger self, your expansive energy that isn't separating your form with the form of another. Meaning it sees it perceives from its larger perspective as if you had no body, right? As if your energy just kept going and kept expanding, and your feelings and your perception and your senses, your multidimensional senses, were not restricted to your body. They just keep going infinitely. And so as there's a shifting in the larger form of yourself, you feel it and you recalibrate, right? If there's an imbalance, right? If you're standing on your left leg and you're trying to walk, you realize you need to step, okay, next will be with my right leg to counter the balance, and then left and then right, okay? Now imagine if you're in a larger body, right? From your multidimensional self that has expanded its sense of self to its higher self, to its multidimensional self, to its non-dualistic sense of self, its state of consciousness. It's inclusive of those external, even though there is no external, depends on kind of what layer you're looking at it. It's inclusive of that energy. And so if there is a negative energy or a heavy aspect of the larger self, it will counterbalance it with the amount of light that's required in the body. Okay? So there are infinite levels of yourself that are constantly healing itself or finding balance or negating dis-ease or disharmony or balancing frequencies, whatever you want to call it, however you want to language and try to clarify that for yourself. It's just, you can just view it like a balancing of a, etheric or energetic seesaw, right? So imagine your auric body, your etheric body, your larger body that's not restricted to form. Or just imagine a larger body. Imagine that you are like sumo wrestler or the size of a house or the size of a movie theater. It doesn't really matter the way that you visualize or, use the metaphor, but it's an inclusive energy. And the larger and the more aware you are of your multidimensional self, the more you are healing from those levels as well as your own level. It's all simultaneous. So the person asking this question, like when you state, is this happening for them or me, or does it affect them or me? Yes and yes. They're not mutually exclusive. They are you on those higher, by higher, I just mean more expansive, inclusive levels of self, right? And so, is it happening for them? Is it happening for you? Yes and yes. Do you see what I'm saying? It's all a matter of perspective. If you want to break it down into separate forms, then it is happening for you and inside of you on a very physical, visceral level. And it is also happening for them, to them, on their physical level. Now, how conscious of that they are, up to them, as an individuated expression of source. But from your perspective, which you're always living from your perspective and experiencing from your perspective, you are going to, from where you are now, just by reading what and knowing you are going to be experiencing on that multidimensional level now, which must be integrated. You have to allow a sense of doing the work or healing your higher self, your higher body, your all-inclusive energy. It doesn't separate. It's like you are not human, you are humanity. Do you see the difference in that level? On one sense of expression, you could be very pointed in your individuated expression of source and say, I am Rachel, right? And then you can also say in a very pointed, individuated level, I am female, which is a little broader, right? It's more inclusive of other female energies, not just your own. And then I could say I am human, right? Which is a little broader. Again, we're moving the Russian doll of our energetic awareness of self a little broader, and realizing I am also inclusive of all other beings that call themselves human, but I am human. And then again, even broader, I am humanity as a singular entity. That is me. And on all of those levels, that is true. In your multidimensional, infinite, which goes macro to micro. You can get as small as you want, as big as you want, right? On all of those levels, you are healing, constantly balancing the self. Now, whether you want to perceive with your understanding and your cognition of kind of how you're trying to figure it out in your mental mind, is just a matter of what perspective do you want to view it from in this moment. Do you want to view it from your own individuated, form of Rachel self, or do I want to view it from humanity? And in that sense, you are healing you. You are healing your larger essence of self. You are counterbalancing. You are transmuting energy, which is just that seesaw balance of very innately, where there is we do this very innately, or organically, without much mental cognition about the process. We just shift to find balance. And so that's kind of when, what's coming up when you mentioned that it almost seems like it's happening without your sense of awareness of it. It's because it's a very natural, organic way of finding balance. And we, as an amoebic kind of, an amoeba type of form, if you have ever seen, looked under a microscope and seen kind of an amoebic type form, or oil and water, they kind of move in a balanced fashion, even though sometimes it bubbles up on this side, the other side will kind of counterbalance it down, or they kind of have this ebb and flow type of energy to it. So you are just aware that this is what's happening, and aware of it on a deeper level because you're feeling it on those dimensional levels that are now inclusive in your mental mind. So you've kind of allowed space to your mental mind to become more aware of what's going on within your multidimensional experience. I hope that made sense. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. It is multidimensional healing all of humanity, healing all of, and it just goes on and on. It's infinite. Planets and your planetary body and your celestial body, and you are an infinite being. And I love you. Thank you for this question. It was beautiful. Blessings.